Moving on to the next well-known block on this file system, and here the block Bitmap is the block number 3. It manages the allocation status of the data blocks in our group. The idea of the bitmap is that it has every single bit in its data describes the allocation status of each data block, which in our case is 2 sectors in size, 1 kilobyte. And the bitmap block here itself is occupying exactly 1 block of storage. Next well-known block is Inode bitmap. This one is managing allocation status of the inodes in the current block group. So each inode here is stored in this inode table, and inode bitmap specifies whether these inodes are available or already occupied. The inodes themselves are 128 byte size data structures, as we already know from the information in our superblock, and each inode is residing in this table. So we're moving on, and the next, block number 5, as visible in our group descriptor, is the starting address of the inode table. And here I want to compute its size. How many allocation blocks our inode table occupies in this group? So remember, we already have collected number of inodes in the group. So that number corresponds right here, multiplied by the size of each inode. So this is in bytes. And then divided by the size of the block. Right, so this is our block size in bytes, so we're dividing by the size. And the size of our inode table is 160 blocks. So this is 160 blocks altogether. Okay, so you may be wondering what's the importance, and the reason why I want to compute this is that I want to know what's coming here in the file and directory area that follows the inode table on our Unix partition in this specific group. But this is as far as we can go with these well-known block numbers. Okay, so I am now jumping to block number 5. Position, go to sector and specify block number 5. Click OK. Notice that it switched over to say these are our inodes, meaning that this is now the beginning of our inode area. And I also want to capture this byte offset relative to the beginning of the disk. And you can see this byte offset here as well. So we just take a note of this. And we can now quickly map our locations on this Unix file system summary slide. So essentially we have the boot sector, then we have the super block right here, then we have the group descriptor table, then we have our block bitmap, we have inode bitmap, followed by inode table. And now, thinking that our block 5 is the beginning of the inode table, and this table is here in block number 5, then 5 plus 160 blocks is 165. Then if we jump to block 165, clicking position, go to sector and specify block 165. So this is the first block after inode table. And we ended up right at the beginning of the root directory on this drive. So this is indicated by our details panel that this is the root directory. And also if you take block number 165 and multiply it by 2, which is the sector number, then you can see that that exactly corresponds to the sector number 330, which is the directory browser showing us right at the top of this view. So block 165, which is sectors 330 and 331, is the root directory.